Facebook with our weekly instructional video. Got a new co-star here on the video. This is Harley. He's a Leopard Appaloosa and retired Providence police officer. So he's here to help us out with this. Last week we said if you had a business and you want a little plug, we give it to you. So I heard from my friend Julie Shields Head up in New Hampshire. She's from Madison, New Hampshire in the White Mountains. And she's got a barn up there called Wincroft Stables and Guest Suites. So they have a beautiful farmhouse and they have guest suites in it. So you can go up and stay. It's advertised through Airbnb. So you go up there and stay with her. You can take some riding lessons with her. I know her personally, she's a great gal. So if you're interested in having a nice vacation with some horses, give her a check. Check her out. She's on Facebook as Wincroft Stables and Guest Suites. So if you want to check her out there, or you can give her a call at 774-722-5542. So, okay, so that's that. Now we're going to move into today's subject is wearing spurs all the time, but only using them when you need them. So I'm going to hand it over to Amanda, and she's going to talk to us.
Okay, so how to ride with spurs all the time, but only use them when you need them. Okay, so it's pretty simple, believe it or not. So it all has to do with having your leg in the proper riding position, as we had talked about in one of our prior videos. So that means having a nice long leg so that you're not scrunched up, because if your leg's scrunched up, you have no choice but to have your spur in the horse's side. So you want to have a nice long leg with your toes pointed straight ahead, not sticking out like duck feet, because if you have duck feet, you're more likely to be jabbing the horse as you're trotting or cantering around the ring. So, as you can see, the spur is pretty far off of Harley's side. If Doug squeezes him, the spur is still not coming in contact. So, the only way that Doug can use the spur is if he intentionally uses it, just like this. Also, you don't want the spur to always be on the horse's side, because the spur should be a secondary aid. You don't want it to be the first aid that you go to. So you want to be able to use your squeeze and then go to using the spur if the squeeze doesn't work. So do you want to show them how he goes? Well, do you want to show them how he goes with and without the spur?
Well, he probably goes pretty good just with a squeeze, but if I want to get a nice smooth, I haven't warmed him up, so I'm not going to even try to canter him. But
yeah.
if I'm trying to get a canter transition out of him, I might just decide to give outside leg just a little rub like that. Instead of giving him a kick, right? I might just go back, just take my leg and go back and just do that, and I'll get a nice, smooth, instant transition. And then with Harley in particular, police horses are really well trained. They're trained in the dressage. They're really, really smooth movers. So he is really good at making smooth transitions, but sometimes I have to remind him. Sometimes he's a little older. Sometimes I have to give him a little reminder with the spur. But once I do that once, I'm going to come back to give the canter departure with my toe tucked in, and just give it to him like this instead of. And if I wanted the first time, I may just say go around and give him that, okay, to get him going on the first. Because I don't like a horse where you have to give him a lot of leg to get him up into a canter. I want him to go from practically a dead still or a dead stance or a walk, you know, but don't necessarily always want to be in the trot. So if I can use a spur to get him up really quick the first time, then he kind of gets it from there on the rest of the day. And sometimes I don't have to use them at all on him, and I'll just have to remind him. So
exactly. So like we were saying in our prior video when we were talking about your leg being in the proper position, again, if you have your toes turned out or your leg too short, that spur is going to constantly be on the horse. And if it's constantly on the horse, you're going to end up really irritating your horse, and you can even cause like calcifications if you use the spur too much. So you want to make sure that you're being kind to your horse and using it as a reminder and only using it when you need it. So you want to be able to ride with them all the time, because you never know when your horse might be like on a hot day. It's been really hot this summer and you need to get that one last canter lap out of them, or you need to get them started for the day. Like sometimes Doug was saying Harley can be a little hard to get into the initial canter, so can Jagger and stuff like that. But basically, using the spur only when you need it all has to do with your leg being in the proper position, just like this. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday at 9 o'clock for another live video. Thanks!